So a couple things here to build on the wisdom, and again, I'm presenting this from a perspective of how this can get approved. Because especially we talked about the FDA, it's all about our collective security and efficacy and all that thing. A food company this is easy to sell. Like, listen, we want to make parents' lives easier, and it's tough to get kids to eat the best stuff. It's tough. So listen, we got this idea that we're going to take these good things and we're going to make them colorful. So now it's like it helps us as a business because for marketing purposes, you see FDA. But the thing is too, is this going to help the parents because we're going to give them the nutrients and we're going to make it bright and colorful for the kids. So now they're going to want to eat these things. You see what I'm seeing, FDA? So how about you do this? You just sign this right here, and then we'll start making these freaking fun colors. You like this aqua blue? You know what? It's the surface. Until, like you said, it's the tip of the iceberg. And then when you start to look at the shit, that's when you start to recognize, like, oh, junk. They had to shift something to make it so. What's up, everybody? Hello. Welcome to It's More Than Black or White. This is a health podcast that's supporting you in finding the information that's relevant and important for you to take control of your health. Like, share, subscribe, hit that like button, hit the share, and listen, at the end, we're going to ask again. And if this resonated with you, please share with another, because listen, it's about us getting this message out there. And we were just talking about, it's our karmic contract to support and help you mother hoo-has get your health right. So, Brian, what's up, man? People, this is Brian. What's up, B?
What's going on, man? Yeah, good start to my day. I woke up about an hour earlier than I usually do because I thought I had a call. That's all right.
Brian was right on. He was early, baby.
I'm a week early. I thought today was the 28th. It's actually the 21st. So got a little extra education, did some meditation in there, watched a good YouTube video, documentary, and then I'm here with my man Paul. Yeah,
this is how we do, baby. We're about to drop some gems, B. So, people, these topics that we talk about, Brian and I get together, we plan ahead, and Brian comes up with some fresh topics, man, that a lot of these, the majority of these topics we talk about, Brian's like, hey, man, let's talk. I think it'd be good for us to talk about this. This topic that we're talking about today is, it's interesting. It got me angry, and some things that Brian said has me calm and focused. We're going to get into it, and you're probably like, what is he talking about? We're talking about the toxic foods approved by an organization that's designed to support our health. B, before I ask some questions of you, I just want to put something out there. This organization, here, we're going to do a little a game, Brian, for the people's watching. Which organization are we talking about? This organization is responsible for protecting the public health by assuring the safety, efficacy, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, medical devices, our nation's food supply, cosmetics, and products that emit radiation. Which organization are we talking about, B?
Let's go. I'm going to go with what is the FDA?
Yeah, ding, 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 ding. Yes, you do, bruv. Brian is correct. Brian is correct. B. So listen, man. Can we before we get into the things that are approved by the FDA that could be harmful or that are harmful to us as human beings, give me an idea of when did your thoughts of the FDA or government organizations that protect us, when did they start to shift for you? And what was the...
Yeah, I think I told you this story before on here, but I'll say it again. So back in probably like 2006, I was working down in South Jersey. I was running a bunch of clubs, and I had no idea about nutrition. I mean, I understand the basics like macros and chicken breast is better than, cereal and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really understand, like, I was too worried about counting macros and calories and stuff like that than I was counting chemicals. So I was always on the run, driving around these gyms. And I had a club up in Hoboken, driving back and forth from like basically Philadelphia to Hoboken every day and just doing all this stuff. So a lot of my meals were fast food, like trying to eat clean at like fast food places, which is, I know now is impossible, and then like pounding Monster drinks all the time to try to keep my energy up. And I remember one day, like, I started getting like a pain in my side, and I didn't have insurance at the time. So I was like, oh fuck, I got to drag this thing out as much as I can, because, my insurance is not going to cover if I have, like, somebody's like, went to a doctor, and the doctor was like, oh, it could be like your appendix and blah, blah, blah. Just keep an eye on it. And I was like, all right. So I was like, really like trying to push it off as much as I could. Long story short, like, about maybe like a month or two later, I'm in the shower and I cough up like this black tar stuff. And I'm like, all right, I call the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, whatever it is, like the infection's spreading into your lungs. Like you need to get in here. So I run down the emergency room. I get in there. They do like this MRI, and they found, like, I forgot the terminology, but they found like all these blisters all over my organs. And he's like, then he did blood tests. And it's like, there's something in your blood we got to figure out, and blah, blah, blah. So the guy's like, hey, listen, we can give you these antibiotics, or give you these kind of pills to kind of take away the pain, or we can actually go in there with needles and start draining these blisters. And I hate needles, but I was in so much pain because my organs were swelling. They're rubbing up against each other, causing these blisters. I was like, dude, go with the needles, man. They went in there, drained it all out. Yeah. And then, long story short, 3 days later, I felt much better. I went back to the doctor for a follow-up. Everything started looking normal, and it was getting better. I was still a little discomfort. And I remember going to the doctor. I was like, so how does this happen? Like, what causes this? He's like, oh, these things, they happen. I'm like, I never even heard of this. Like, I'm like, there's got to be, like, you got to give me more than, oh, these things happen. They're like, oh, right.
That's flimsy.
Could have caught a virus somewhere. You could have got this, or like something happened. Like they didn't know. They don't know how to come to the etiology of the issue, which I realized later. So I was telling my buddy, and my buddy was like, hey, you should go see like a holistic health practitioner. They'll chances are they'll get to the root of the problem. And at the time, like I was doing your pregame, I didn't know what a holistic health practitioner was. I thought I was going to go in there and some person was going to have like a voodoo doll that looked like me and start like putting pins in me and shit. Like, I putting sage all around my head and like doing a dance around me. Like, I had no idea. But I remember the first thing they said to me was like, oh, write a list of all the foods that you're eating. So I was like, all right, yeah, okay. So as I'm writing the list, like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, holy fuck, like, the reason I have all these health issues is because of the foods that I'm putting in my body. And then I'm reading then I started like taking like a Monster can, for example, and I'm reading the chemicals, and I'm writing down all the chemicals that were on there. I literally filled up a page, and I'm putting it in Google. I'm like, what does this do? What are the negative side effects of this? What are the negative side effects to this? And like everything I'm seeing is like neurological issues, seizures, like vomiting, cancer, and then you keep going down the rabbit hole. Like, keep doing this is going to cause Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, all this crazy shit. I'm like, how the hell is this legal? like what? And then then that's when I got introduced to like, I started taking holistic health courses, my boy Paul Check. And then I met a lot of people like-minded people in his courses. And then I started taking other courses outside that. I started working with endocrinologists, started working with doctors, started working with chiropractors on a holistic level. And it was just like, what the hell? Like, it's such a corrupt organization. It's literally a criminal organization. And and when I say this, like, I know I have a couple friends that actually work for the FDA. They're low level. They're not at the top. I think it's like, I don't want to put everybody that works there and does like research as a criminal. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But the people making the decisions, people on the top of the iceberg, the peak of the iceberg, man, those people got some, moral and ethical issues that are going on, and it's because of greed and other issues. But man,
you got some explaining to do, bro.
Yeah. you know.
Yes,
So
smart.
that's when I started. That's when I started really being like, what the hell? Like, and like taking responsibility of myself instead of listening to my doctors, instead of then, you know, another thing too. Like I learned to like what the medical schools are. You know, the
What do you mean? What do you
pharmaceutical.
mean by that?
Yeah. So like, and if you're a doctor and you're going through schools, the pharmaceutical companies, they fund your education, or they fund the curriculum. They pay the schools money to create their own kind of curriculum. And a lot of that curriculum is basically like, you gotta understand, like the FDA, the main goal is to make money. That's it. Make money by selling drugs. It's not to protect us. You know, that's just like that's fairy tales. That's fairy tale stories. It's to make money. You don't make money when people are healthy. So again, there's a time and place for doctors. I have a lot of respect for doctors. I believe, like, you know, listen, I get into a bad car accident, I break an arm and a leg, I'm going to go to the doctor. I want to get the surgery done. If something's like an acute issue happens where I need to stay alive, going to the doctor. You know, the medical advances are amazing. You know, every like, you know, 10 years, every year, it's like the advances are absolutely amazing, and they do a good
Right.
job. However, to prevent a disease coming, to educate me about how to live longer, on a how to eat better, no, absolutely not. That's like, you know, going to your car mechanic for you know, a dental checkup. That's you know, it doesn't make sense. You know, a lot of people, they put this doctor under a whole umbrella, like they know how to prevent diseases coming, or they know how to find the etiology of the problem. It's not the case. They don't know that. 95% of doctors do not know that. So, you know,
Yeah.
you have to really be educated. And I mean, look, I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm still educating myself every single day. I'm like, oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know this. There's so much out there. Everything is so fragmented. People don't know what to get on, and, you know, and put in a linear, you know, I guess, you know,
Path or
yeah,
education
linear
line?
path. Everything's
Well,
they
I
don't know
think
what to
this.
believe in and what.
Well, I think so. So I want to chime in and build on your wisdom there and cut and go back. I think the reason that people have yet to really know what to focus on is because there are agencies that will relay that that's their job to do for us. So like,
Yeah.
don't worry about that. Don't we got you. We'll do all the things. And look, this podcast, this session is free of us bashing anyone, and it may happen. All right. So
Yeah.
our main thing is to really help people recognize, to see that that things are more than black or white. It's more than like, hey, we're gonna protect your thing. It's about what are the reasons that they're doing it, and and being aware of what they're approving. So yeah, it's they have agencies, and also building on what you were saying about the doctors. I think that's a big piece of how the whole structure is created. So you were saying, like, you recognize that all these different ingredients, you look at them and it's like, oh, junk. This is horrible, but this is approved by the FDA. That that creates a distrust, because it's like, hold up, you're here to protect our health and safety, but this junk is giving me blisters on my organs. What is this? The thing is, and you said another thing that's important, that the FDA is a business, even though it's got the org and shit or gov at the end of it. It's still a business. And for a business to be successful, one of the key parts is for the business to scale. So when I was working when I was working in a pharmaceutical public relations company, that's when I got introduced to a part of that scale, where they'd have doctors, like, where you're saying they come to medical school, like, hey, um pharmaceutical, hey, we're going to endorse this school, and hey, you doctor, you're promising, hey, come and do this study, we're going to do this, hey, here's you like Barbados, oh, Joe, we got a place you can get, oh, Joe, you like Lamborghinis, what, man, look, let me tell you, I got this fresh thing, we got to get it to your house. I'm exaggerating, and maybe not,
No,
but the
and
thing
even go a
yeah,
little deeper. Like, you gotta understand, like the there's a revolving door between people in the high ups of the FDA and pharmaceutical companies with food
yes,
industry.
Yeah.
with chemical industries. So a lot of these people that work for the FDA, eventually they start working for these food industries. So you're like
Yeah.
wondering,
Yeah,
like,
man.
hey, how did this food get approved? Oh yeah. So basically, you have lobbyists that come in from these food industries, and they talk to the FDA, and they're like, hey, listen, if I'm going to do a quick synapse. Hey, if you get this drug approved or you get this chemical approved, you're going to have a cushy job once you're done with the FDA. And a lot of and
Yeah.
this is proven all over.
I
This
was
is
just about to
just
say.
easy Google research. So it's
Yep.
like this
Yep.
doesn't scream conflict or interest. Like I don't know what does, and it's so funny. Like in a lot of these a lot of these high up SEO people or people in our government, like to kind of like, all right, before I get into it, like kind of backtrack, like athletes can't bet on sports because it
Hmm.
undermines the integrity of the game, right? It
Right.
creates opportunities for players to kind of like influence the game purposely by dumping points or like doing whatever in their own best interest. And they also don't allow it because it also preserves the image of the sport as like a high integrity. So you're not allowed to bet on your own sport that you're playing in, but you're allowed to hold stock. Our government officials are allowed to hold stock in certain pharmaceutical companies. Where do you think their interest is going to be, no matter what the results of the outcome is going to be? They're going to try
Yeah.
to push that drug as much as possible. They're going to try to push that particular food industry because they have money invested in this.
Yeah.
So again, if this doesn't scream conflict or interest, like I don't know what does, So
Yep, it's a skewed system. It's a skewed
it's
system.
yeah,
So, this is the reason why we're talking about. This is why we're taking this portion of the show, this session, to discuss that agency, because we just want to give you a background on what's really happening. And Brian said you could check the receipts. You can go back and look at the officials in the FDA, their transition into different food industry or different businesses. And I was first awakened to this. I saw a movie with Matthew Broderick. He was like the head of the oxycodone something, and they had an instance when there was an FDA person that was shutting them down. Right, it wasn't approving it. Then all of a sudden, it was
yeah,
approved, and then years later, the dude was working for the company, and I was like, no way. And then like looking up,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, junk. So this is awareness, man. This is awareness, people, because please, everyone's got their motive. So the motive here that we have is to educate you on these agencies. Listen, this is one agency. There's a ton of agencies out there that will say that they're doing certain things. And again, please recognize that they are a business, and
Yeah,
business are created to succeed, and they're succeeding at a very high level. What we're talking here is some of the things that are approved, some of the things that make Brian sick, some of the things that are making our collective sick. These things that we're about to share with you, these are some of the things that have been approved by the FDA, and we're going to talk to how these different components impact our bodies.
yeah,
So, B, let's start to transition. And I think one of the most popular ones that I think we hear the most about is high fructose corn syrup.
yeah, definitely.
So,
Hey, Paul, before we get into
yeah,
that, I just want to kind of be
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
people are gonna be like, oh, how did they allow this to kind of happen? So like,
Mm-hmm.
because they can't put it out there being like, hey, listen, this causes all these diseases. So like, how does this happen? So like, I found a little research on this. So back in 2017, the FDA finalized a rule that allows manufacturers to decide for themselves, and in quotes, in secret, which chemicals can be added to processed foods. And if processed foods, they make up about 70% of the American diet. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like it's crazy how they allow untested chemicals into our food. And to give you a little background, there's over 3,000 chemicals that United States has in our food. And to put that into perspective, like Europe is like 300. So we literally have 10 times more chemicals in our food than pretty much the next highest, continent, which is Europe. There's also a loophole that allows this to happen. So over 50 years ago, Congress created an exemption for safety testing for food additives that were generally recognized as safe, which is basically your GRAS. And these loopholes were written in an era when food additives were typically ingredients like vinegar, salt, and vegetable oils. So there are very few of them. Now we have all these other chemicals in there in the loopholes, and these laws still exist because of this loophole.
Wait, time for a second. Pause. So like the vinegars, the vegetables, those are the original preservatives to help keep the food. And what I'm
Yes, over
hearing you
50
saying is
years
then they
ago.
started to
So yeah,
create
the
different ones.
salts. Yeah, the salts, the
Okay,
vegetable oils, the
gotcha. Thank you.
vinegars, and a couple other little ones, but like more natural, even though vegetable oil isn't really that natural. But
Mhm.
they're still piggybacking off this loophole. They haven't really
Yeah.
done anything about it. And again, in 2017, they finally be like, hey, basically almost like saying, hey, go ahead and do whatever you need to do. We trust you, and decide for yourself. We're not
Yeah.
going to do an investigation on it. So yeah,
Interesting, man.
yeah.
Very
So
interesting.
that's kind of like where that's kind of we are. We're still piggybacking off a 50-year-old law. Yep.
And that's again a loophole,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like because and dang, one of the things that just came up is like my hope is that people will recognize after watching this that they'll recognize that when we fail to pay attention to what's behind the message, we can be sold anything.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
anything. What I mean is specifically in this case is like when we're failing to question, like, well, hey, everything is shifted now. So can we update this law?
Yeah.
Right? But Brian, you mentioned before, we're failing to recognize what do we focus on, because if we're focusing on that, then we're going to force them to change laws. Now they got to do things different. To a
Sure.
big
Get them
businessman,
less
that's like,
money.
yo, the big business that's like, yo, that's going to cost us money. Yo, who we got to pay off, son?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, dude, it's crazy. Yeah, it's very interesting, man. It's very interesting, and I'm drawing as we're talking about this, I'm drawing this correlation between like all these different government agencies that are businesses. Like we're talking FDA, like it's a situation I'm dealing with, family court, civil, all these
Mhm.
things are like,
Yeah.
we're here for you. No, you're not. So like it's freaking anyway.
Yeah.
Serenity
Exactly.
now.
Home back in, buddy.
Uh,
Home back in.
Mama say, Mama sama makusa. So B, let's go over some of these toxins, right?
Let's
So
do it.
we started to chop it up about high fructose corn syrup,
Mm-hmm.
and that's well, this is a sweetener. This is in a lot. If you're looking at, especially if you're getting into the practice of looking at the labels, what's in this food, just get in the practice. Be free of judgment, because for some of the stuff you may not even be able to pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
Just start getting yourself in the habit of looking at the labels, what's the ingredients, and start to practice getting foods that have as little ingredients as possible. That means is pretty much close to nature, unless it's all sweet. But basically, with high fructose corn syrup, it is a sweetener, and this is crazy because this one's linked to a lot of obesity, type 2 diabetes, metabolic disorders. This thing is, the thing is in everything.
Yes.
So B, tell us, like, what are some of the ways, like with high fructose corn syrup, that this starts to break down or fuck
Yeah.
up the body?
Yeah. So like you said before, it's a cheap sweetener used in a lot of like food and drinks. So it has to be converted by the liver to glucose before it can actually be used as energy in the body. So what it does, one of the negative side effects, or a lot of negative side effects, it increases triglyceride production, leading to illness such as like obesity. You mentioned metabolic syndrome, hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. We talked about non-alcohol fatty liver disease, how that's on an all-time rise. We talked about that in the last episode, as well as developing several types of cancers. You know, they've actually done studies on mice that showed they develop intestinal cancer, and this is seen in the world as GI cancer has skyrocketed today.
Yeah,
We
man.
also talked about it in a past episode. Remember uric acid? One of the main causes of high uric acid, which has a lot of negative side effects, like I mentioned here, is basically caused by too much fructose in the body. And ever since high fructose was kind of got converted into this, instead of since fructose got converted into high fructose, maybe 67 years ago, these illnesses just went through the roof. So definitely stay away from this one. Why it's approved by the FDA?
Yeah. Who knows?
Well,
I have an idea. So I want to check in on something because you said it was fructose. Mm-hmm. So meaning it was just an ordinary sweetener, like what, white sugar, like what? And because you said fructose, you said high, you turn it to high.
Yeah, the best way to memorize fructose is fruit. Any kind of sugar that comes from fruit is fructose. Then they find a way how to make it cheaper, so they did like some kind of chemical change in it and created high fructose corn syrup just to save them money. And so if you're looking at like, we talk about like people have a lot of uric acid levels. So uric acid levels are through the roof. You want to look at fructose. That's the main culprit. I'm not saying don't eat fruit. Fruit has a lot of benefits though, but you don't need to eat 2 pounds of fruit every day. That's going to crank up your uric acid levels.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I thank you for bringing that up, and I want to highlight something else, especially before we were talking about the relationships between the Food and Drug Administration and different companies in the food industry and pharmaceutical companies. And when we think about the fructose, which is the natural sugars that are in our fruit, it would behoove the food industry to be like, hey, we want to be able to make more product. So we came up with this compound shifted version of sugar, which will help us produce more product. FDA, do you think you can just help us out? Because we want to make more money, and we'll support you. We'll support you. But I think that this is great. We can, and you could probably also help out. It'll help out some other companies too that could probably help you out.
Yeah, and it shows that it's safe right now. But don't worry, no long-term studies have been done on it up to this point. But it's safe.
It's good to go. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Right. So it just and I'm looking at this. The reason I share it like that, Brian, is because I want to provide people with possible reasonings, possible origin stories on how these things came about. Like, because a lot of these times they may seem like, hey, we want to do this thing. It's not that big of a deal. Here's a trip, or here's something. And then they see, no, it's like, gotcha, bitch. Now all of a sudden, we got products like this, and there's and wait, there's more. And now, let's go, since we're talking about a lot of the food industry, right? Mm-hmm. We just talked about high fructose corn syrup. Let's talk about some of the ways that our foods get so colorful. And that's artificial food dyes. Mm-hmm. You have that on. So listen, people, when we talk about the dyes, man, like think about this. We're taking a dye, putting it in food and consuming it. So a lot of what's happening when we take these types of things, they're creating a lot of problems in children, like hyperactivity. There's allergic reactions, and also it's a possible carcinogenic and how your body processes it. So, talk to us about what's the scoop with artificial dyes, and where are they putting these things, bro? That most people would make.
They're putting them in a lot of children's foods, so they make them bright and colorful. So it's. It's crazy to I get parents are all the time to oh, my kid's hyper, he doesn't stop. I'm like, all right, what's his breakfast like? Oh, he's eating Pop-Tarts, he's eating Fruit Loops for breakfast. All those dyes, it's man, it's electrocuting your brain. It's boom, you're just so hypersensitive, and you can't slow down. I mean, listen, when I remember when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of money, and my mom just didn't really know too much about, I guess, nutrition at that time. And I would eat cereal all the time, I would go to school and I'd be the biggest fuck up in school. I I can't concentrate. I was either overly stimulated, or I was just crashing. I remember just being a complete shit show, but we had no idea. Yeah. but it's a lot in children's food to grab their attention. You want to see bright, colorful things, if their marketing is really good, they put a toy in the bottom of the cereal box, so you can grab, But it's like in a lot of like sports drinks. We talked about this before, like
Yep.
Gatorade. Like it used to be,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's anymore, but it used to be have like so much high fructose corn syrup in there. And like,
Yeah.
oh, it has electrolytes and it's healthy. I'm like, dude, you're just looking at the tip of the iceberg. You're not looking at anything else below it. Yeah, maybe 2% of that drink is beneficial for you. You don't quench your thirst, of course, it's some kind of liquid, but in the long run,
Yeah.
fucking like you're destroying yourself, you know?
Yeah. I mean, so a couple things here to build on the wisdom, and again, I'm presenting this from a perspective of how this can get approved, because especially we talked about the FDA. It's all about our collective security and efficacy and all that thing. A food company this is easy to sell. Like, listen, we want to make parents' lives easier, and it's tough to get kids to eat the best stuff. It's tough. So listen, we got this idea that we're going to take these good things and we're going to make them colorful. So now it's like, it helps us as a business because, for marketing purposes, you see FDA. But the thing is, too, is this going to help the parents because we're going to give them the nutrients and we're going to make it bright and colorful for the kids. So now they're going to want to eat these things. You see what I'm saying, FDA? So how about you You just sign this right here, and then we'll start making these freaking fun colors. You like this aqua blue? You know what?
Yeah.
It's the surface until, like you said, it's the tip of the iceberg. And then when you start to look at the shit, that's when you start to recognize, like, oh, junk, they had to shift something to make it so. Very similar to when you see like zero trans fats, zero fats. People, please turn the box around, look at the freaking ingredients, because for them to make it that way, they had to shift the component, the makeup of something to make it something. Anytime you're shifting the makeup artificially, it's fucking you up.
Yeah, you got to understand all dyes they will cause some sort of cancer. I'm not saying if you have it one time it's going to cause it, but they're all linked to, they're all highly carcinogenic. All these dyes are a lot of hypersensitivity issues, and you're looking at kids these days, like depression's to an all-time high. ADHD is all ADD. All those are all neurological issues that are all at an all-time high. Learning disabilities, IQ is down. It's just like, look at kids these days. Like they got it every 2 seconds. They need something. They kind of keep themselves stimulated. You take a kid off a phone or a kid off a video game these days. Like they don't know what to do. They don't know how to interact with the world. And they just need that constant. They need that constant pick me up. That they're addicted. And it's your job as a parent to look at the chemicals, not the calories on it. Stop counting calories, count chemicals, and then do your research. Look up like red dye number 3. Look at the side effects of it. After reading all the side effects, and then you want to make a decision, go for it. But you eventually, every parent does that. That's why most kids they're becoming statistics these days. A lot of kids, they have all these like cancers and like crazy shit going on them, and they're at such a young age. I'm like, how do you, like, parents are like, I don't understand how this kid can get it. He's like a healthy kid, and like, why is he so young and he has leukemia or his cancer and stuff like that? Look at the nutrition. Look at your environment. What are you putting in the body? And the problem is, again, you go to the doctors, they're not going to be like, oh, give me a list of all your give me a 7-day food journal of what you've been eating with everything on there. I'll do my research and let you know. No, they don't know. They look at a blood test and be like, okay, these numbers are high, these numbers are low. Let's put you on this drug to lower this high number. Let's put you on this to bring this one up. And they don't know. You're never going to get into the etiology of the problem. It's your job as a parent, it's your job even if you don't have kids, to educate yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to be another statistic, and you're making these government agencies more money. The best way to vote is with your wallet. Go somewhere else.
Brian,
yeah.
I gotta fan you down, son.
It's getting hot in here. Getting hot in here.
Yeah. Jesus, bro. Yes, man. Let them know, and and for the people in the back, people, please, rewind it. Listen to what B's saying again. There's so many gems in there, man. So many gems. And this is something. The biggest thing I'm taking away from what you were saying is, if your body's jacked up or something's going on and something's not feeling right, start to look at what you're taking in. This is important because, yeah, we're talking about like you consuming all these artificial things. And, listen, every once in a while, some people may be like, no. For me, if I want to have Frosted Flakes, like maybe a bowl, maybe once a month, or like, I don't know, like maybe less. I don't know. It's too sugar for me right now. But like, okay, the thing is, go more towards natural. And I'm working on this too, people. So we don't want this to seem like, you mother, get your shit together. Yeah. This is about supporting you and taking control of your health and well-being. And an important thing is monitoring what you're consuming, what's in your environment. Even like we talk about people that will have certain diseases because they're consuming certain things. It may happen to certain people because of their genetics, what they're predisposed to, the environment that they're in, which will activate, which is like things like epigenetics, which we're most likely going to talk about at some point on a full episode. So we're saying these things because like these toxins or these components that are in our food, they're going to affect us differently, especially when we consume them on a regular basis. Our body has problems processing these things, people. So that creates the disease, like how Brian was taking in all these monster drinks and stuff and all these things and really beating up his body. In addition to, if you heard what Brian said, he was like, I was going back and forth to gyms. There was no rest. I felt your adrenals like, you know what I mean? So his body's going to react already. His body's already in a stress state. Now you give him like these things, he consumes these things. It's like the viscosity is like, now he's got blisters, right? From consumption and environment. So that's why we're talking about this. B, I would love to cover another two. I know we want to keep within.
Yeah, I got many of them, man. What do you want to cover?
Okay. Well, yeah, because I kicked off the next couple. What's one you want to dive into, bro?
Yeah, I mean, let's just get. I mean, this is a popular one, aspartame. All right, it's also known as nitrate sweet. Yeah, also known as nitrate sweet, equal. Some places sugar twin, amino sweet. So there's a molecule in it called methyl ester, and when consumed, it breaks down into methanol, which gets converted into formaldehyde. Yes, aspartame gets converted into formaldehyde. It has a direct correlation with cancer, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer, all which are at an all-time high, seizures, stroke, dementia, other neurological issues like migraines, and definitely gut issues, GI gut issues. You stay away from aspartame as much as just stay away from it. It's horrible. This is a couple times where I've been out and I got like and it was like, oh, it's like sugar free, and like I'll take a sip and my stomach will be like fucked up, like a sharp pain, and right away, like I know I'm so in tune with my body, like right away I know it's like aspartame in it, and I'll even go back and like, hey, what's the ingredient there? Like, oh, we aspartame or we put equal in there. And I'm like, oh, sometimes I even go like, hey, is there aspartame in this? No, it's equal. They don't know the difference.
They don't know the difference. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, it just like how one chemical can have 30 different words that are coordinated with it. So,
brother,
yeah, definitely stay away from aspartame. Kind of going back what you were saying too before, like you don't have to be 100%. I mean, in a perfect world that'd be great, but you don't have to be 100% with your nutrition. For most of us, if we can do 80-20 rule, 80% of the stuff you put in your body will counteract the other 20% of shit that you put in your body. If you really want to get to the next level and be optimal, I would say 90-10, more like 95-5. Like I eat clean throughout the whole week, and my wife, she loves pistachio ice cream, but you're not going to get any pistachio organic ice cream around here, So I go out with her. We'll go after this, and I'll get some ice cream, with her and stuff like that. But I try to. That's like my cheat for the day. for cheap for the basically.
Pistachio ice cream.
Yeah, she loves that
Bro.
pistachio gelato. So
Ooh,
yeah, so we go and get that. So
Oh, that's good,
yeah,
man, dude. Pistachio ice cream. That
yeah,
sounds good. Sounds good.
yeah. Another
Oh,
one.
sorry, I was on a tangent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
give me a couple more,
You're
man.
good
What you got,
at
B?
yeah. All right. BHT or BHA, which is a petroleum drive chemical. You see this in a lot of foods. It's used as a preservative found in like cereals. Again, going back to kid stuff, gums, chewing gums, fast food, drink mixes. If you're baking, the shortening and baking, snack food like chips and other kind of cosmetic and pharmaceuticals like rubbers and plastic. So this is very common. It causes rashes on skin. Um, Numerous agencies actually classify BHA as a carcinogenic, which should come to no surprise right now. And actually, Europe is defined BHA as a Category 1 substance, which interferes with hormone functions such as estrogen, increases toxicity in the livers, kidneys, lungs. And they've actually done research on lab animals. It's a tumor promoter, as well as it prevents them from getting mice pregnant because of the infertility issues it has with it too. And it's in everything. It's in a lot of things. So be careful what you're putting in your system there. Do your research on that.
Again, one of these things is easy to sell, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to sell because
yeah.
Damn. People, please pay attention. Please. Or
Yeah.
be aware. Be aware. I don't know why I want to look up that word aware. There's something about it. There's something in their definition. Anyway, yeah, B. Let's get one more in, man, for the people.
Yeah. Man, one more. Let's go with fluoride. So increase, increase. This is a big one. This is found in all our tap water. People probably have heard. We talked about this on the past show. Like people probably heard, oh, fluoride's good for your teeth. Actually, it's the opposite. There's research coming out now. Plenty of research. I mean, this is easily found that fluoride actually causes tooth decay in a lot of people. It doesn't cause strong because it breaks down your teeth. Actually, it doesn't make your teeth stronger. So increased fluoride in pregnancy leads to a decline in IQ of the child when the child was born. It's a toxic chemical that has a ton of mental health issues, such as learning disabilities, memory disorders, sleep disorders. So just be very careful. The story goes that there was funding by companies trying to get rid of this toxic chemical, and it came up with a bunch of sham studies saying, "Oh, fluoride is good to improve your dental health." So that's when they started using it and giving it to dentists and trying to put it in water. So basically, like we're kind of like again, these companies, they had so much fluoride, they didn't know how to get rid of this toxic chemical, and they're like, let's make up these fake studies. They put it out there to the media, sold it to dentists, sold it to people in our whatever the organization is for putting our water together, and put it in our tap water. So it's so bad. There's a strong correlation. Go ahead.
No, there's a strong correlation. Now I ask.
Yeah, between fluoride and brain development. Again, like we talked about, a lower IQ. When drinking water that has fluoride in it, it actually doubles the risk of hypothyroidism. Because fluoride actually, what it does, it binds to what they call an iodine receptor, and it displaces the iodine, causing issues for you. So that's why people that have low thyroid, they need more iodine. It blocks everything. So,
but what? All right, so here's where my mind is like short circuiting, right? Because I can find, like, when I look at the situation for the other things, I could find a reason this could be beneficial, right? And I'm talking about from the business standpoint of the company, like, hey, we're gonna sell more of these products. It's good for the blah blah blah. I'm failing to understand how fluoride could be sold as beneficial.
Yeah, they did a bunch of
saying, like,
Yeah, they did a bunch of fake studies on it back in the day, how it's beneficial for the body.
Okay.
And they sold it to the media. They sold it to the people in our government saying, hey, listen, these are the
Oh,
studies.
okay. Got it.
There's so many benefits to it. And they were like, oh, okay. And I mean, either they went in there completely ignorant, or, some lobbyist was paying off somebody, to put it out in our environment. Yeah. And
Damn.
it's people still, I remember, I think it was, what was that water company? I forgot what it was, but they started putting it out maybe like 10 years ago. They stopped it because it would say with added fluoride on it, and like neon letters, green neon letters. I forgot what the company was that
all right, so okay. Oh, I see. So that's where they were like, oh, it strengthens your teeth, it does all these things. Like, that's how they're like, hey, so let's put it in the water supply, it'll be great got it. Okay. I missed that. Okay, yes. Listen, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Like, we were kind of running out of time here, but do your own research. Artificial flavoring, vegetable oils, glyphosate, another substance called brominated vegetable oil that they actually just banned in California. I don't know why just California, not anywhere else, but look into those as well too. It just, there's so many more. Like I said, we have over 3,000 chemicals that are approved by the FDA. I'm not saying all 3,000 are bad, but in my holistic mind and my background and my education, what I've been taught was anything chemical going in your body, it can't be good. It can't be good for anyone. So try to be as clean as you possibly can. And listen, we're not out there to, scare you. We're out there to make you aware. I don't care if you don't believe me or believe Paul. I don't care. The point is to get the information out there. Do your own research and make your own judgment based on what you find. That's it.
Do your research. Do your research. Listen, B, this is I like that. Listen, this episode is right in alignment with all what we always do here, people. Like Brian says, do your research. And this is it's about, we talk about a lot of different things. In this particular situation, do your research on what you're consuming. I mean, maybe take one product, explore. My invitation is for you to explore. And that includes like what you're consuming, but also your own health markers, your health history. Because some of the things that you may be consuming could be contributing or activating certain components or genes in your body that you have your family line has a history of. Yeah. So these different things. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Yeah.
Sorry. First thing I would do, like most of the people that listen to this, they have kids, and most of the, I'm guarantee you have a box of cereal in your cupboard. Get that box of cereal. Look at the ingredients. And if you care or you have time to take a little bit of time to take out, list 10 ingredients on there that you'd never heard before. Google the side effects on it, and then you'll get an idea of what's going on in our world today. A lot of people, they look at our government agencies like, oh, this is this umbrella that's protecting us. It looks out for our best interests. Fuck no. Like, no. To a certain point, they got to have some kind of integrity to keep you thinking that like they're looking out for you, or they're, but at the end of the day, their goal, we don't have a government, we have a corporation. Bottom line is to make money. You can't make money if people are healthy. Follow the money. Look at it that way. You can call me a conspiracy theorist. Perfect. I take it as a compliment. I can think outside the box.
He's gonna get us canceled.
I don't. Yeah.
Me neither. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I rather, you know what? I'd rather get canceled and know that I did the best. We did the best we could to get this information out there than sugarcoat shit and have a successful career on a YouTube channel. I don't care. I'd rather be canceled, and I can hold my head up high and I expose the truth. And I got a few people out there actually got healthier doing this, or it opened their eyes a little bit and they could spread the message.
Bless up. That's what I'm talking about, B. Bless. Get me all freaking amped up here. We're just wrapping up. Listen, people. Yes. Listen, take care of yourself, man. Do your research. Learn, listen, explore, question. And again, do your research. B, any last words? Because that last one, that was a mic drop. Anything else you want to tell the people before we wrap this piece?
No, I was kind of laughing to myself. I was like, it wouldn't be the first time I got banned from something. So I remember like when I was in I taught at I got asked to teach at a certain hospital when a few years back, and they wanted me to lecture on food. And so I did a lecture in front of like 500 people on food. And the next day I get a letter in the mail immediately. I mean, they must have because I had 3 lectures back to back to kind of be put on. They wanted me to teach. And I got a letter literally the next day in the mail that said, well, I'm not welcome back. What I was saying was too controversial. So the following day, one of the people that were in the audience was a producer for the Southeast Florida for an ESPN radio show. And that's how we got in with the ESPN radio show. The guy's like, hey, listen, I love what you have to say. You're very, you say it like it is, and you don't beat around the bush. And, so something good came out of it. But I thought it was funny. I was like, oh, look at this, man. My first ban. I'm so proud.
You're like, I'm doing it. I'm making it. Look, Mama, I made it. That's great, yo. Let's go. Here's to the bands, man. Here's to the band, man.
Yeah.
Bless up. Hey, people, man, listen, if this resonated with you, you know what I'm about to say. What? Okay, yes. Like, share, subscribe. By you even clicking like, tapping like, this is going to get this to show for other people. And again, you can be part of the change. Even if there's some things like you're like, I don't like this, put down the thumbs down. That's going to get it to other people too, that even though they don't agree, you may have different opinions. Cool. Listen, it's good feedback for us. Brian and I are neutral either way. We want to get the information out. If you don't like it, just put the thumbs down. If you like it, put the thumbs up. Share, subscribe so you get more content. You see all the other videos we have. All right?
Yep.
All right, everybody. Peace, and blessings. Until next time, we out of here.
Peace.
Ding, ding.